Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's everyone doing today? Another trading day in the bag. Nice back and forth day, trying to put in a short term bottom. So we will take a look at that. But before we do, if you are new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting that like button. Longer term viewers, please leave some comments and like the videos. Let's see. Davey, you better not be picking on my hero Kathy and ARK. I know Teladoc released earnings, and oh boy, did you know? She in the last 2 weeks she bought 616,000 additional shares of Teladoc. So Davey, you better not be picking on Kathy and ARK. You know how that's my flagship fund. I'm modeling my style after hers. Yeah, ouch, Josh. That sums it up. Ken, seems like Tesla closed below 900. Would you say next stop to be downside is 830 to 800? We will take a look at Tesla. Howdy, Jake. Welcome, howdy, Wavy. Kathy gone missing. She's in the Bahamas. She's out of the country. And Bill Long, he lost his passport, but he had to put up $1 million in bond. So, but he lost his passport mysteriously. Hmm. So we shall see. It's going to get interesting. Lots of nice trading setups all morning before lunch. There were some pretty decent setups. Nice back and forth patterns. Hello, Amit. Our trading sub 50 may go to zero. Well, it has. I don't know if it'll go to zero. And fund at some point might have to be closed down if they get enough redemptions, but people are still pouring money into it. Life is all about timing. Well, you don't try to buy something that's getting slaughtered. Hey, Christoph, Teledoc got smashed. There's the second. Why is everybody commenting on Teledoc? Oh boy. Oh boy, poor Kathy. His wife handed in his passport from what I heard. His wife handed in her passport as a substitute. So she can't leave, but he can. It's gonna get interesting. It's gonna get interesting. Also, the judge ruled against Elon and trying to get the SEC ruling thrown out. So it's gonna just heat up some more. It's gonna get super interesting in the next few months. Poor Roku Kathy, Teledoc Roku Kathy. Oh, is this turning into the anti-ARC channel? Oh no. Kathy said Teladoc was deep freaking value at $80 in her previous live stream this year. Well, it's a better buy now, isn't it? It's a better buy. You will get bounces in it, but you know what? I want to actually see what it's where it's trading with us PDE now. Facebook up, yes, Facebook is up. That's why we're getting some bounce in the futures, and we might be able to put in at least a little bounce play tomorrow. So we shall see. And overnight, cannot trust a thing out of this lady's mouth. I wouldn't give her my money. Uh, 2018 levels. Can we bounce from here? I think we can get a slight bounce as long as these lows hold from yesterday. Teladoc took a 6.6 billion goodwill impairment with no real explanation. It's not. Oh, it was a. What was I going to say? It was a shutdown pandemic play, with remote medicine. But we'll take a look at it. Did you see? Uh, Here you go. Here you go. Total return since inception of ARC of both the Qs and of ARC, and it's now below if you just bought the Qs. So there was your ARC ramp, and there was your ARC dump. Could you imagine now what happens if your Qs keep declining to our 50% level at least? What's going to happen to ARC? Oh, oh boy. It so I mean, I don't see also Facebook. I know it's going up because they had some user growth, but their revenue and weak guidance. I mean, it's up more than I expected. But hey, we're in some oversold conditions, so stuff can bounce. Here we go. Teladoc had a non-cash goodwill impairment charge of 411 per. Is that 41.11 per share with a total loss of 43 and a half per share? Sounds like accounting BS. I would not be surprised. Yeah, Qualcomm is up also. So put out what you want me to look at, and we will go through it. Just letting you know, I am feeling a little tired, so I probably won't go like a full hour or something today. But let's see how much I can get out. Matt, thank you for all the. I really appreciate everybody here putting in these numbers for everybody to share. It really helps me out in the live stream. So thank you, everyone. Davey, Wavy, uh, putting these numbers in. And if anybody else wants to contribute and put numbers in, it's really appreciated. Meta Platforms sees second quarter revenues 28 billion. Ooh, where'd it go? Where'd it go? 28 billion to 30 billion, estimated 30.74. So they're guiding lower. Meta Platforms first quarter revenue 27.91 billion, estimated 28. So they missed. They're guiding lower. They had some decent user growth, but I don't believe their user growth at all. Because that can be completely, manipulated. Sorry, that's just what I think. All right, remind me a bit. Costco, Walmart, and MCK, PayPal. Q1 earnings 6.48 versus 6.43, so slight beat. Expected EPS 0.88 versus 0.88, so that's right on time. We'll have to peek in at that. Hello, Ahmad. Did you say Ahmed or Ahmad? I just don't want to pronounce names wrong, and I apologize ahead of time. I'm really bad with names. Qualcomm earnings revenue 10.5 to 11.3, estimated 9 point, so is estimated 9.97 billion earnings per share, 323 versus estimated 293. Thank you. Let me just go over some of these numbers and we'll get back to it. GDP growth rate for tomorrow. Remember this, 7:30 Central. We have some numbers coming out, including the core PC prices quarter over quarter, which is going to be interesting to see what that comes in from an inflation standpoint. And you have jobless claims, which isn't going to matter unless there's some huge miss. And again, the PCE and the GDP is going to be interesting tomorrow. And then it sort of slows down after that. So keep that in mind. Here's your S&P, Microsoft again up on their guidance, but it actually did some retracement today. Tesla pretty flat, Google down, Amazon slightly down, but remember their earnings are tomorrow. Apple slightly down, but their earnings are tomorrow. Facebook, that was before earnings came out. Some still rallying in oil and oil-related stuff. FOMC still 96.5, and we're still in negative gamma, so we still favor either exaggerated moves to the upside or the downside. Again, everybody's putting the numbers in. Really appreciate it. We have Meta, we had PayPal, we had Qualcomm, we had Teladoc. We've already looked at those numbers, and we'll look at the charts in a bit. So that's what we'll touch on. Tomorrow, we got Twitter. That'll be interesting. That will actually be interesting. I want to look at a Twitter chart too. So we'll check on that. We got Mickey D's will be interesting from a consumer inflation standpoint. So then we have Southwest with airlines picking up, could be interesting. Let's see. Hey, Dan Jet. Ags companies continue killing it. Check out BG. Also has still low PE. Thank you, Christoph. We can look at that in a bit. All right. Let me switch cameras. Here we go. Let me get in the camera. It helps if I'm on camera. I don't really care if I'm on camera, but people said they would rather see somebody talking instead of just a chart. So I don't know why. Watching again, S&P short-term bottom potential in here. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, this would be a short-term bottom, potentially up to the rotation zone, but we'll take a look at the little shorter-term charts. Up 81 basis points today. So based off the, let me just draw it on here. based off the little sell-off here, let's use this first to give people an idea. So you see hitting up here between the 50 and the 62.5, rolling over. I'll get really interesting tomorrow about 42.41. Then you got this little clear path move, and we statistically favor a return to 42.83 to 4,300. So that's what I'll be watching for tomorrow. And I just love how you can use these. Just one thing you can really, if you want to practice with something, even practice trading around these harmonic patterns, you can see how nicely some of these reversals work at levels. You can see it all over the place here, how you can trade between these levels pretty much by watching for shorter term patterns. Just wanted to point that out. If we drop back down tonight, my major on really on a closing basis, at least on a 1 hour time frame, I'm watching 41.78. And if we drop over there, I'm watching for support at 41.58. You break 41.58 on a closing basis, we will be retesting the lows. So that's for the overnight session. But that's really what I'm watching. And then you can see here, if we do get above that 62.5 and we come up here, that would be a return to the daily rotation zone. So that's what I'm watching. I've updated some levels to the downside. Should we turn and break yesterday's lows, we really have the next major thing would be about 41.28, then 41.01. Below that, 4075, then we have a major cluster. I did update levels this afternoon. That's why they are different. Then we have 4013. And those just aren't for the next day or two. That's whenever we do break these lows, which I am expecting will happen at some point. Does not have to happen tomorrow. Let's see. The reverse harmonics worked great today on Beyond Gap Up midday after Mickey D announcements. Yeah. So thank you for putting that in there, Sterling. We can look at that. NASDAQ. Again, I'm going to pretty much do the same thing for tomorrow. This is how you can use the most recent levels for a shorter term. I'm trying to teach a variety of different things depending on people's time frames in here and people watching it on demand. So you can see the reaction at that 50% level right now. Oh, geez. So that is going to be pretty key for me tomorrow. The 50% to which is coming in about 13,191 to about 13,216 is my key resistance. We get above that, then I'm targeting this 13,287, and we are into a really nice clear path, which the breakdown zone behind the clear path is right here, 13,455, and then it's again to the 87.5, 13,487. So this would be a major target area. Should we start really getting a move on below this, above the 62.5, and then the most recent highs, this 13,583. So that's the play for tomorrow. Key support I'm watching on a closing basis overnight is 13K. You break below 13K, not good. You could get some minor support, possibly at about 12,960, but we break below there, then I'm watching for a retest of 12,900, then the 12,801 lows. So that's what I'm keying off of tonight and tomorrow. And we have a return to this area I already talked about is to the daily rotation zone. Can it go higher than that? Yeah, but we'd have to get a really major rip your face off rally tomorrow to get higher than that. So that's where I'm sitting, at least with tonight. We can check in on that tomorrow morning. All right, first Ahmed. Is that better? Ahmed was better. I'm just trying to get people's names right. I appreciate you all being here. Hey, George. Hey, short-term bottom. It will probably be like the bottom of a wet paper bag, and that's why I'm saying short-term. And could it still roll over? Yeah, that's why, again, it's tactical trading. I am watching for the short-term bottom to these daily rotation zones. Do we even have to get that high? No, but that's why I'm giving out my levels that are really, really key for me. And if it can't keep another green bar and we roll over again tomorrow, this is going to get ugly. It's still interesting though because we've Amazon and Apple after earnings, so we could actually see a slight upward bias, not necessarily a momentum day, but as a choppy upward bias. We'll have to see if we do get those momentum bars though. Remember, only about 70% of uh, uh, 70% of days are non-momentum. They're actually choppier days in the indices of trading back and forth. Only about 25 to 30% are momentum days with a really strong trend, directional trend. Dow, again, is pretty much going to be the same story. You see here moving up to the between the 52 and 62 and a half and not moving. And Dow is actually underperforming today, only up 40, well now 46 basis points. NASDAQ up 120 basis points. S&P up 95 basis points. But the key level is 33,575. Then I'm going to, sorry, I have a dog going nuts in the background about something. 33,656. And then I'll start targeting the area of 33,911 to the most recent high. And that's just a short-term play because I'm still going to expect this longer-term double to play out. If we start breaking below about 33,150 on a 1-hour closing basis, I will watch for a return to the lows, though. To the lows. Remember, today we did set a new slight low in the Dow compared to yesterday. So the Dow is actually weaker. So you got to key off today. And then I'm watching if we really break down below that for this 32,835. So that's essentially it. Again, if we pop up here even to the 87.5, it's just a return to the rotation zone and then watching for that next rotation lower. Russell, just a little bounce to the key resistance. I'm going to watch for a rollover play. If that gets a rally on, 1943 would be the daily rotation zone, then a rollover play from there. You can see here with the DAX moving just below that harmonic where it opened and then reversing, spiking up to the little area we used to target the harmonic and prior support becoming resistance and then back down to the harmonic level. If a DAX gets another pop, I'm watching 14,000. But this is not a great pausing bar yet, but we can use it enough because we have a cluster here. So if it rolls over 13,377 is the next cluster lower. Crude, not much going on. Not much going on at all in crude just yet. It's, again, trying to be, it's looking pretty toppy. Little buying stepped in, but I'm going to be watching if it breaks below $100 again. And there's major resistance. The only upside play is if it pops above about 103 at this point, and that would be a limited upside play unless some major news comes out. Gold, pause and pull back. So again, I'm 1877, the major, 1852. So it popped back to that area. We didn't get that pullback far enough for me to look to unwind, but then I'm watching for that pullback and then add there. Silver, getting to that adding area. So adding here and then on a pop up into anywhere from the daily rotation zone to about 2450 is an unwind from that add. Little reversal at the top of the rotation zone on notes. Okay, so that's where I'm watching. I'm still watching for some higher prices. Key pullback level for me is about 1911. Dollar index, again, pausing, 103.60. I know we made a higher pause there, but we're pausing right here. If it pushes up tomorrow, 103.53, 103.97. Pullback now. Major pullback area is right around 102.70. VIX, again, above, still holding above 31, even with this price level. So not fully pulling back a lot and holding above key 30. If we start breaking below 30 tomorrow morning, then I'm going to watch for, especially with that price action rally to continue. But if it stays elevated, we could stay in some choppy conditions. So what else do we have? Let me get to some other of these charts. We got Ken asked about Tesla. Tesla, which was interesting. We had this, we closed below this, I wanted to actually review something. Closed below 62.5, which favors the gap fill. And I start really watching between the 87.5 with the gap fill. And Tesla, a lot of people think the gap fill is to this level. They look at the candle body. They don't realize the full gap fill is to the prior close, which was the lower level. But then we have this little double pattern in here, running up, completing the double pattern. So when I see this playing for a gap fill, then we get a double. I like to exit the gap fill play and wait for the double to at least get to the second or third targets and then reinitiate a play. Okay? And then for the next rollover. I don't like to fight these little reversal patterns. I just like to stand aside, let the reversal pattern play out, or you could even flip to long and then get back in on the short. From a perspective, though, on the daily chart, just want to point that out here. Right now, I will start targeting the lower prices, Ken, below 870. Okay, that's the 62.5. Until we get below there, then I will target this 8. Then I'm actually, yeah, we will go to 830. Minor would be 811. And then my major would be 757. But until this breaks below here, especially if it can get a short-term bounce, I can't get bearish really until this breaks below here. I can't get more bearish than I already am. Because could Tesla still get a move on to the upside, and especially tomorrow get above this 930 level and then run back up to like 975, especially if we do have a stronger market, like we get a short-term bounce in the NASDAQ, yeah. But if we start getting below even intraday with momentum below 870, then I shift to at least short-term bearish mode. We close below the 62.5, then I shift to long-term bearish mode. Hope that made sense. Let's check in on ARC. Oh, Kathy. Down post-market 48.96. So below our next harmonic cluster, and that fulfills the 87.5 essentially. I know we want regular trading hours, but I'm marking that up to, all right, we got that close below 62.5. We just hit the statistic probability of the next 87.5 level. Below that, 46.81 is the next support level. But, you know, I would not be a buyer in this. It's just selling rallies on that period. And as we said, Teladoc. Where's the thing? Where's it trading? Oh, look at that. Look at that. 37.45, 36.74. I bet you we even hit that. I bet you we did. I don't know. Let's see. Extended trading hours. Look at that with the harmonics. Look at that. Momentum right down to that area. Thing of beauty. Again, you're not trying to call the absolute low. You're trying to call an area where you could get a bounce. You know. And look, I mean, that went down. And look, you had no great price action. Unless you tried to call a level down there by going back to about, look at that, February of 18. Whew. Next level's 23.40 if it could get down there. I mean, what's this EPS? Earnings per minus 277, so it can't have a P to E ratio. So yeah, see, I mean, this can't even have a P to E ratio with negative earnings. And what did it come in again at? At least they made some money, but they can't get enough to make positive earnings. So yeah, that's that's brutal. That's just brutal. Whew. Don't want to be in that. Let's check in at Meta or Facebook. Why'd they ever change their name? So up here, this is now up to the rotation zone. This is going to be a gap play. Not necessarily tomorrow, but this will be one that I will be monitoring for a gap play. Why? Even with this, back to the look, it's right to the weekly rotation zone. Can't say it can't go higher, but you start even getting back up to right around 225, 226 is a rollover play. A rollover play if we start filling the gap. So again, that 173.06 harmonic, and if we drop back below that, it's 161 to 136. And we are still below the 200 weekly, which is resistance. I would not be touching this at all besides short-term bearish plays after this pop. Where do we sit now? Qualcomm. Again, thank you everyone for putting in the numbers. Show you, we had this little double that was set up earlier, and now it gave its full target is 142.64. It only got here. Yeah, it had to be played on the 1 hour. You can see it here. 1 hour going. It was risky going into earnings, but you can see here. Where do we get up to on this? Just curious. Yeah, we already completed it with the extended trading hours. So if you are in something like this going into earnings, I have no problem exiting it when you hit a full target in the extended trading hours, just for educational purposes only, because you already had the targets up there, and it could still, depending on what happens, especially in these markets, be trading lower and start filling a gap. So I have no problem if you put in, like, let's say you're long here, you spot that double pattern, you put in an after hours order sitting here with earnings, it gets hit, you're out. Just wanted to point that out. So we'll have to see how that plays out tomorrow. Sashi wanted to look at, I'm just going in order from the chat. Costco. Again, Costco coming back down. We hit the first and second targets from this. Oh, I don't want the extended trading hours on. From this really, we even had the pop, so don't know if you'd still be in it, but next target lower that I'm still using is 546. I'm expecting this to possibly hit the 200 on the daily, or sorry, that's the 4 hour. It's below that. I meant the 200 on the 4 hour. And then longer term, this is now getting into sell again. Let me also update this because it's better traded at that point with this pop as a double. So it's roughly the same target. So 546, 547 area is the next target down. But you are below the rotation zone. So unless we get a super strong rally, I'm watching for rollover plays in that. Walmart returning to the bottom of the rotation zone in the 25.5% level. Let me see how this looks again on the weekly. See, still overextended. I'm really watching for a pullback to 151.70. Even on a dip to 150 to 151, I'll start watching it to see if we get some short-term buy patterns. Still don't love it up here with this price action. MCK. By the way, this is not that double was not, it went too far, so that can't be traded. Do you have a short term? You do have a short term double, it looks like here. And a gap fill, yeah, and I'd only use the second target. So you have a gap fill, but I wouldn't front run this at all. 323.63. Then you'd be targeting 329.40. The gap fill would be to about let me give you the exact number, 331.64, then 332.28. So that would just be a short-term pop play. But if it rolls back down into this area by the 50, that's off the table. And then I'd be watching for the lower price action, and you still have a gap down below. So longer term, I'm watching. If this breaks down again, it'll return to about 305.50. You still do have a slight gap play in there. Where else do we sit? PayPal. Up a little, but again, PayPal, this thing, I need a decent bottom in here. Boy, a decent bottom in here. This is just trying to fight a trend. So on any rally, 93 is the first level resistance, and then about 99. So you have to be nimble if you're trying to play this for a rally. We're back. We've done the full retracement. Look at this. Remember, you got the close below 62.5 back in on 21st January. Hits the 87.5, hits the 100%. It's round tripped from its COVID lows. So, and this is ugly. We could get a bounce here a bit, but this, if it starts breaking below this level, not liking it still at all. So nothing for me to touch until we get a long-term bottoming pattern. Where does it sit with still? And its price to earnings still 23. If this gets down to, like 16, I'll start possibly getting interested from a fundamental standpoint, and then I'll start looking for technical patterns. But I'm not trying to do anything long-term based off of that yet. Going back to Christoph's, check out BG. Ag companies still killing it. Yeah, that's a nice pullback into here. Do we have a pattern? No, that's a little... Does that work? Yeah. That works. That definitely works. So on a move back up, it's been triggered. But with the conservative targets, just because you're here, yep, that works. So this is still playable as long as you don't get back down. I mean, below about 114.50. This is still a potential playable double. Yeah, P/E ratio 8.3. Thank you, Christoph. That's definitely something that you might want to put on your watch list because we already have a triggered double. You can see it there on that 4-hour basis. So a rotation back up, definitely playable for a return to the highs. Returning to the daily rotation zone. Weekly, still dipping into the weekly rotation zone. So yeah, this could be a nice little potential play to the upside. Just you got to keep a decent stop if it does roll over, since it is still at the top of the weekly rotation zone, because you can get the bigger pullback and then an even better play. But that's definitely worthwhile. Thank you for that, Christoph. Can you review URA? Yep. Remember, URA for me is a long-term play, but it's also trading around a core position. My next buy zone is 22.61 to 22.36 right in here, and then the sell zone turns into 24.41. You got to trade this around a core position. So just as the last run-up, you had the unwinds. Now you have the reloads. Especially down here is a gift. But this is where, you get the pop. Don't get greedy with these kind of commodity plays in the short term. For example, you had all this back and forth down here, and then you had all the back and forth up here where you can unwind at levels, and then you get to reload on the way down, which is planned. So that's where you work out your, say you want 2% portfolio risk. Well, you don't put it all on at one level. You say, okay, I want to divide this to, let's make it easy. Let's go with, 5% portfolio risk, just for example. This is where you can say, all right, 1% here, 1% here, 1% here, 1% here, 1% here. All right, I got it all taken care of. I got all my levels mapped out. Let's say we drop down here, 1% is add. You pop back up here, 1% subtract. You pop down here, 1% add. Let's even say you popped here, then here. You're 2%. You pop back here, you're taking off that 1%. You pop back here, you're taking off that 1%. So that's how you want to start looking at some of these commodity plays that are longer term. Remember, longer term, uranium's still in a big demand, but it's stuff like this, even on pullbacks in the markets, commodities go through rotations, just like gold and silver. But you start breaking eventually above this 31 dollar area, you could make a huge run for it. So that's where you get greedy and stop selling and look to just buy a little more aggressively on the pullbacks. All right. I hope that makes sense. Teledocs going to zero? You think, Waka Waka? Welcome, Waka Waka. Is Arc Dead Cat bouncing? I didn't see it bouncing it after hours. Meta Pump is a joke. Well, I'm glad you're here. That's what I'm watching for, the gap fill. And then a return to new recent lows. Ford just announced a loss of $3 billion for Rivian. Wait for Amazon, $10 billion loss. Yeah. No, I can go over XOM right now, Sean. So Waka Waka, I expect you to be here tomorrow afternoon for Amazon earnings. You're going to be the point on Amazon earnings. Let's see where we sit now. Let me remove some of this. Again, from ExxonMobil, could be stuck in a trading range with a slight upwards bias. Right now, based off this most recent move, never got the close below 62.5, moving back up. My next levels I'd use higher are just 86.37, then 88.12, then a return to the harmonic level of 87.92 area, 89.82, 89.70 area. Where I'd get concerned is if you get a close below about 81.33, then I'd be watching for that bigger pullback on the short-term basis. Long term, again, oil might be just in consolidation. That doesn't mean oil companies have to necessarily be in consolidation just because oil's stuck at a high price. So oil companies can still make a decent money, so fundamentally, it's a strong position. So you just got to be picky with the pullbacks. We're back in the weekly rotation zone and trying to rotate back up. Nothing's in a fantastic position, so this is just a short-term play. By the way, if you, it's a little sloppy, but here's your major line of sand you want to keep an eye on. Should it roll over, all right, and you get below this low on a closing basis, I would be then waiting for a much bigger pullback. That would be 76.25. You could easily return to this longer-term trend line and the 200 area. That's only if you get a close below this, because that would void the rotation zone and you would trigger this sloppy double right here. And it's still valid. Even with this hitch in it, it's still completely valid. So until that happens, there are the plays to the upside. I just wanted to point that out for anybody trading Exxon. So you have a great line in the sand for a stop. Why is there uranium demand? Because with these high energy prices, a lot of companies have to bring more reactors back online, or they've stopped mothballing their reactors. Okay, and there is still some shortage in it. So that's why there's long-term demand in it. It's a long-term commodity fundamental demand situation. And as long as energy stays elevated, especially as longer this Russia situation drags on with Europe and everything else, there's still going to be a strong uranium play. And Waka Waka, just wait for Russia to stop exporting and then uranium will explode. Yeah, it's got some potential major plays to the upside. Okay, thanks for bringing that out also, Waka Waka. If Russia cuts off and they're a major provider for uranium, or if the world says we're not going to take any of Russia uranium, then it can get really interesting. So that's where we sit. I don't think I missed anything. I think I got it all. I'm just going back through the chat here. Oh, did you want me to do the that was the beyond little gap there. But that's I was just looking at beyond with the McDonald's with that fake out move to the upside. Sitting here, nothing I'm going to be looking. I'll keep an eye on this little double, but it's stalling out at this harmonic level. I'm actually would I think something like beyond could still hit this next major harmonic back down to the 1725 area. All right, where do we sit? That was mad. I think it was some fake news on Beyond. Well, fake news for fake meat. No, it was something with McDonald's. I remember seeing it. I can't tell you right now. It was with McDonald's cutting or some or doing something with Beyond. I forgot. I'll have to look it up. Has your crane started planting at all? They've actually like half of their areas just can't be planted right now. So that's you got still your ag pressure from that. You know, and you got your Indonesia even did more with their palm oil. So there's something interesting. Here we go. We got Waka Waka. Yes, but they are 40% down on planting and little or no fertilizer. And that's the other key component, which you got to remember. And farmers in this country are, I mean, the price shock from fertilizer is amazing. And that's just hits the bottom line. So, and crop yields, if you can't properly fertilize, are will probably, and I'm not just talking for Ukraine, I'm talking for any place because there's got to be skimping on some fertilizer, and you might not get your crop yields. So keep that in mind. A lot of these things are long-term plays, even on pullbacks. So don't be shocked. That's why you have to plan, especially with commodities. I like to look at these trades around core positions. Even oil can be traded around a core position once it goes into consolidation. Thanks, Christoph. See, you guys are great. You guys, I got to give a shout out to everybody here who's regulars. You guys are fantastic with the information you put in the chat and share with everybody. I really hope people learn and learn and look at all the different information that's shared. So this is great. You know, real big shout out to everyone here. I have not looked at soybean oil futures. So yep, there you go. Thank you, Christoph. It's not one ever since I stopped being a heavy trader in beans. I don't follow soybean oil. I probably should start doing it again. I just want to see how it reacted to that. Oh. Huh. I guess pause at that harmonic with that sell-off pullback, close above it, then next harmonic hit. I guess we'll have to remind me to look at this again, Christoph. So thank you. So no fertilizer, no matter what you pay, is just non-existent. You can still get some in this country, but the price is just absurd. Mike, you are awesome, and thank you for all you do. Thank you. Those are for those kind words on it, and thank you for everybody who shows up and shares information. Nice, yeah. This is a decent cup and handle playing out. This is a decent cup and handle, big cup handle pattern. That's actually a fairly decent one long term. That is a nice one. Thank you for pointing that out for everybody. If you're not familiar with that pattern, you can probably even see it nicely on the weekly. Nice rounded bottom, cup, handle. There you go. So let's see what our we'll just go with the move that started it back here. Kaboom, ba boom. There you go. Next major target. Whoa. Wow, could it? Whew. Sorry. I'd be watching 99, so boom, doop. So yeah, that 99 level. 99 level is going to be key long term. All right, everyone. I'm feeling a little tired, worn out already. It's only Wednesday this week, and all right, but I will be here tomorrow morning in the chair at 8 a.m. Central, along with everybody. Again, thank you. Waka Waka, remember, you're in charge of being here tomorrow with the Amazon earnings. And again, thank you for putting in all this earnings information. It really helps me out for people adding it to the live chat. And you're very welcome. We've developed a great community here, and I'm really appreciative of everyone here. And again, that goes for everyone. Stay well, rest well tonight, get away from your computer for a while, have a good rest, have a great dinner. Christoph, go to bed, and I'll talk to everyone later. Bye for now.